Last week, Labour Behind the Label released a new report into supply chains of fast fashion giant Boohoo. We found that many workers have been working in unsafe conditions, and this has been exacerbated throughout the COVID-19 lockdown. We found evidence that workers are having to work in factories despite being diagnosed with COVID-19, despite having family members at home who have been diagnosed with COVID-19. And we also found that there was a huge lack of social distancing or adequate PPE given to employees. The things that we've found out are not new, so a lot of the exploitation and bad conditions that we found in the Leicester factories that are producing for Boohoo are not new, but COVID-19 has opened up new ways for workers to be exploited through wage and benefit theft. So why have factories been operating at 100% capacity throughout the UK lockdown? Well, when the UK lockdown restrictions came in, Boohoo very quickly changed their orders from party wear to athleisure wear and loungewear. And this move was so successful that Boohoo's sales actually increased by 45%. And this was at a time when many other brands were struggling and cancelling orders, and their sales had actually decreased. We know that when sales go up, particularly with new orders, it obviously means that production goes up as well. So with production going up in many of these small Leicester factories, which were already cramped and housed in dilapidated buildings, it means that social distancing and many of the COVID-19 sort of restrictions to contain the virus and to prevent transmission were just not possible.
So tell me about the conditions inside the factory that you've been working in.
Very bad. Imagine in lockdown time, it was like I'm in a prison.
Many people may be shocked to hear that people are getting paid illegal wages in the UK, but there are a number of factors which make this possible. So the majority of factory workers in Leicester's garment industry are from minority ethnic backgrounds, and around a third were born outside of the UK. This means that already there may be things like language barriers which make it harder for people to report illegal work practices. On top of this, many of the workers in Leicester's garment industry and many migrant workers as a whole currently have no recourse to public funds. And what this means, particularly in a time of a public health crisis, is that people are pushed to work through the COVID lockdown in unsafe conditions because there's simply no safety net to support them. In addition to that, we have the UK hostile environment policy, and what this means is that up until now, any investigations into illegal work practices in Leicester's factory or any enforcement in Leicester's garment industry has focused more on rooting out people who are deemed to be living in the UK illegally. So it takes the form of an immigration raid rather than rooting out illegal work practices and the poor purchasing practices that drive these. And what that does is further marginalise people and prevent them from speaking out about illegal practices for fear that their migration status will be used against them. So, what happens next? Well, at the moment we can see that investigations are starting to take place in Leicester's garment factories, and this is a good start, but it's not the whole process. So these conditions in the garment factories don't exist in isolation, and they're part of a much wider system. And unless we tackle that entire system, we're not going to see the meaningful change that we need. So Boohoo's purchasing practices, so that's the price that they will pay for goods and the production times that they demand, these things all have an impact into the way that their clothes are produced. if you are only paying a very small amount for goods and you're demanding them to be produced very quickly, then this encourages subcontracting. And subcontracting means that Boohoo no longer has oversight of their supply chain. And this is what we've seen in recent days, where they have admitted that they didn't know that one of the suppliers was producing Boohoo goods. When a brand doesn't have oversight of their supply chain, they have got absolutely no way of ensuring that human rights are being upheld within their supply chain. So what we really need to see is Boohoo held accountable for the human rights within their supply chain. And we need to see Boohoo taking much bigger steps to go transparent. And what that means is publishing information on their supply chain so that consumers, shoppers, journalists, labour rights organisations and suppliers all know which factories Boohoo is producing in. Once we know what factories Boohoo is producing in, then we can hold them to account for the conditions in which they make their clothes. And finally, we are often told, we're often reduced to consumers and told that members of the public, our main power lies in consumer power, so we can change the system through where we're shopping. But I think that there's a much greater power that we have, and that is the power of using our voices. So signing petitions, taking to social media and telling Boohoo that we demand better for their garment workers, and demanding the kind of systemic change that we need to see in order to have a much fairer society.